He thinks what?
You just need an ambulance, but it just doesn't come.
Yeah.
It's not ambulance.
So it looks like ambulance is not sent yet. 그죠? He already said, I have a problem. Send us an ambulance. But then, FD's point of view, he has to know what the problem is, how serious this problem is. He's not answering it. 그러면 we can think about the assumptions that this person has. He's very frustrated. 그쵸? 그런데 막 욕한다고 해서 you can say this is serious, right? So FD needs some kind of concrete examples or concrete description. But then this caller has a different assumptions. I'm calling you because the problem, just send it. Right? So in a way, you can't really blame this guy. FD is doing his job, and the caller is so distressed, and he has an assumption that if I call, they would send ambulance in the first place. 그랬더니 background nurse, line 1 nurse, 911. 누가 이제 이렇게 얘기하는 거야? 내가 얘기한 게 아니었구나. The nurse says, the nurse is talking to FD. This is the fire department nurse. What is the address? 그러니까 약간의 pause가 있어요. 왜 pause가 있을까? Why do you think there's a pause? Think about this from this person's perspective.
He has to do it again.
Yeah, has to do again. Right? 얼마나 frustrating 할까? 이미 얘기했는데 보내주진 않고 또 얘기하라고. 4139 Hafford. Right? 그러나 이제 그건 아직은 speculation, 현씨. 그건 아직 speculation이 아까 그 얘기한 것처럼. But we can see this preferred sequence kind of tension is building up. So nurse says 4139 what's the street? 그러니까 이제 또 다시 해야 돼. Hafford Street, HVO, blah blah blah. 그러니까 이 사람은 exasperated tone, FORD drive and so on. 그렇죠?
Is this case the responsibility of the fire department?
어?
If this like the person who needs ambulance died,
Yeah.
is it the fire department's responsibility?
Yeah. The person, his mother died, and the fire department had to pay millions of dollars to these persons later on. But there are other things happens later on. So nurse says, what street crosses Hartford there on the corner? Like this is not this wouldn't happen these days because you have the navigations and everything, so people are already on. It's Lincoln, you can cut off and Lincoln. So he's giving them a direction. So and the phone number, blah, blah, blah. And what is the problem? So finally, in line 44, nurse is getting the problem. So you can kind of see the duplicate, repetitions of the same information. I don't know. If I knew, I wouldn't be needing. 그랬더니, nurse, sir, would you answer my question? To me, this begins the whole trouble. Because I think probably nurse response here kind of make him more angry. He's repeating what he said earlier. But then he says, would you answer my question, please? So they are operating under different assumptions. Right? I already told you, you are the one who has to know what the problem is once you get in. But then they say, you have to tell me what the problem is, then we will send you. Right? 아까 몇 페이지였지? 그게?
96페이지.
96페이지였나요? 여기 봅시다. So it was my mom, and then she said, where is she now? She's in the bedroom right now. May I speak with her, please? Then here, different assumptions, right? You can't. She can't. She seems like she's incoherent. Why is she incoherent? How the hell do I know, right? So the assumption for this person is, I called 911. You should know that people don't call 911 if you are in a normal situation. It's a dire situation, so you have to act right now. But you're still asking this question, right? 그다음 이제 how the hell do I know? 그랬더니 이 nurse가 계속 don't curse me. Please answer the question. 이게 자꾸 우리 비시텐션이 되니까 the situation gets aggravated. 그랬더니 Sir, don't curse me. Well, I don't care. Blah blah blah. 그죠? Finally, give me someone that knows what they're doing. Why don't you just send an ambulance out here? So his concern is, just send me the ambulance. Right? Do something. 그랬더니 nurse가, Sir, we only come out on life-threatening emergencies. Well, this isn't life-threatening emergency, okay? Again. 자, do you think fire department is responsible? Like they are so responsible to pay for so much money and then some people get fired? What do you think about that situation? 잘못한 것 같아? Fire department. 내가 그렇게 얘기해서 그런 거 아니야? 이 사람은 무슨 문제가 있어요? What about this person? Caller. Is there a way he could have acted differently to speed up the process? Like my mom is dying. Yeah.
He could actually say what the situation is.
The moment. Instead of arguing with
Okay.
To give more explicit information.
I would be very interested in learning about the court proceeding, how this case was presented in the court, right? And what elements is this? Goodwin's, Charles Goodwin, he wrote a paper on Rodney King incident. Do you remember Rodney King? Rodney King. Yeah. So this black guy was beaten to death, almost death, and that was captured in camera, right? So that became L.A. in a riot, and a lot of Korean, people, they got robbed and big trouble. But then the lawyers the police arrested this policeman who beat the Rodney King, and defendant won the trial in the first trial. So that's why the riot, occurred. So Goodwin analyzed the court proceeding, how the defendant was, the lawyers for defendant was very successful. So the argument was, in the video frame, the 4 or 5 people with this baton, the big stick, and they kept hitting this person. So anybody see this as abuse, and it's a violent act against a civilian. But the lawyer used a frame by frame analysis. That's what they were. That's why they were successful. They say Rodney King was in this position, and he was very big guy, almost in 2 meters, 190 meters. And they say he was on a drug. So the argument was he's big enough. He was on drugs, so if he could act, any officer could get hurt. That was the argument. So the argument, the more subtle argument was, when Rodney King moved this way, they hit. The Rodney King moved this way, they hit. If his move was stationary, didn't move, then they didn't hit. That kind of analysis. So It's a very interesting study. I mean, they couldn't justify the process, but that's how people are making an argument against those things. So break that down, the analysis and so on. So here, in this particular case, I think it'd be very helpful if we know what happens. If you want to know what happens, you have to know the protocol, right? So what is important, for example, what kind of information needs to be gained in early stage, and what assumptions people have, and the repair, or the adjacent repair, that tells us how people understand each other's tone, and so on. So that allows us to get to the issue more details, so that we could understand better. So it's important for us to know the normal procedure first. We have to know very closely, right? Then once we know, then we could see the variations or problems that was derived out of these sequences, right? So that can be applied to other, talk setting, other professional setting, I think. So this is kind of interesting data to examine as a finishing our talk on service call. 자, for next week, 프린트가 하도 많아서 헷갈리네. Did you get the approach materials? 받았어요? 자, 요거는 turn to page 52. She's going to talk about some of the approaches to studies in teaching speaking. And there are two approaches presented in page 52. One is by Yung Chung, and then the other one is Carter and McCarthy. Okay? And then you go through the paper, and they're going to explain different teaching approaches along the way. Some concrete examples, and then the materials and so on. And then if you go to the last pages, she will report the example of what a good speaker does in speech and so on. So this is designed to give you some basic information about speaking. Then when we go back to CA, you could address some of the issues here. So some researches in speaking is some information is missing, so you can provide an information, or you can kind of add some contributions to existing literature, or there are some things that you can criticize with CA approaches and so on. 그걸 먼저 읽고요. 아니구나. 그걸 읽고 그 다음에 이거는 페이퍼를 이거 줬어요 이거? 내가 줬죠? 네 페이퍼. 자 요거는 abstract만 같이 읽어볼게요. While discourse studies have uncovered distinctive language patterns in classroom interaction, these patterns are the result of contingent choices the parties make when they navigate through real-time interactions. To specify the interactional choices, it is necessary to trace sequential trajectories of interactional sequences in its entirety. The present study is based on the 3 data sets collected from an English as a second language composition course and 2 English as a foreign language content courses. The findings pull into view the process in which classroom teachers make ordering decisions as to when and how to discuss particular content knowledge. So it examines how teachers order what to talk. So for example, in business class, teacher was talking about this particular concept. He wanted to talk about this, business concept, and then in the course of interaction, he found that students need a different information. So he kind of digressed from that, and then address that issue, and then come back to this issue, right? So it's more like side sequencing in making what to teach in teaching. So these are the examples. Specifying teachers' work practices in this way allow for more preliminary descriptions of teaching practice in way visible to those practitioners who have eyes for such details. Target knowledge in classroom context is not something stable, but negotiable as classroom teachers and their students determine its character in the evolving sequences of interaction exchange. Which means teachers say, I'm going to talk about topical coherence today. This very general topic. But then in the course of interaction, teacher found that there's other things you have to talk. So you kind of go back and forth and go back and forth. So in order for you to describe those practices, you have to kind of describe a long passages. If you look at page 6, it's kind of like a 30 line, and then page 8, I think it's also like 40, 50 line, right? So you're not looking at 3 or 4 lines, but looking at the larger sequence to identify the nature of teaching in classroom. How teachers locate the topic, address the topic, and how they find the problems, and how they address their problems, and how they get in and get out of particular topics in classroom interaction. So 3 cases. One is a business administration. The other one is a philosophy course, Eastern philosophy course, and the third one is ESL course. So we are getting into more of an application stage. Now that we kind of built the basic technical noticing, okay? So we'll move on to that. 그 다음에 one last thing. 1-minute data analysis is due in November 19th, but you are welcome to bring your data. And if you are willing, we can put it up here and then think about it together. 예? 무슨 얘기인지 아시겠어요? 그런 방식으로 자꾸 데이터를 보고, 자꾸 얘기해보고, 그 다음에 자꾸 이제 응용해보고, 그러면 이제 훨씬 더 도움이 될 테니까. So if you want to do that, just let me know, and then give me your data. Then I kind of we'll have some time to discuss those data. Okay? 그렇게 합시다. 다음 주에 만나고요. Don't forget to do a time writing for tomorrow. Time writing. Revise your paper and put it up. 마킹을 해야지 오늘 안 한 거를. pre-second, okay. change. 이거 안 했고. Okay. 네. Yeah, it'd be helpful if you kind of take it to the
실험실.
my office.